name's Sue Bignor, and I grew up on Weeke Estate. My family was one of the first to move in 1953. Following us moved in, we had a church which was the hall next door. And the dream always was that there would be a church, and a proper church. I mean, it wasn't that it wasn't a proper church, it was a hall. It's a temporary thing to accommodate a growing young estate. I can remember very clearly Peter Rayban, the very first vicar. I think it was 1956. He had a very personal touch, and he used to walk around the estate constantly, talking to people as they moved in. He was a very high church in tradition, but he had a very, very hands-on ministry. He left for promotion, really. I guess he was a curate and he became a vicar, something like that. And Peter Smith came. Peter Smith stayed a very short time and stabilised what Peter Rayban had started. He had a young family. What I remember most about him was we had Sunday school in his house because everybody went to Sunday school. Parents didn't necessarily appear themselves, but it was something the 50s and 60s children did. And you went, and if you said you didn't want to go, they used to say they were busy with their housework and it would be good for you. And there was an overspill into the vicar's house in what is now the lounge. And I was in the class that was in there at the age of 9, and there was an upset because the vicar's wife's plant was dropped on the floor during a Sunday school lesson and discovered when we'd gone, and nobody owned up the following week, and it really did become quite an issue, and she was incredibly upset. And in the end, we all had to bring money to actually buy her some flowers. And that really sticks out in my mind because there was this incredible onus on owning up. And from my perspective, although obviously it was important, it was such a fuss that really it was almost impossible for a 9-year-old to own up. It wasn't me actually, but anyway, I don't know who it was. After they left, he wasn't that well while he was here, and he did very well, but he really wasn't well. And they went up to a parish in the Lake District. After he'd left, Chris Sansbury came, and Chris Sansbury was here about 12 years, and he had the dream of the new church, and he was determined it would happen in his lifetime, or in his time here I should say. And he used to give us collecting boxes, and we used to go round collecting pennies, and it used to be described as buying bricks. And there was a very memorable time once in the youth club days when it was decided that you had to go to church if you went to youth club. And one girl didn't, and he told her she couldn't come in. He explained to her that he wanted her to think about it. He didn't do it nastily, but her father came down and said that if she couldn't come in, he wanted his bricks back, preferably from the middle. That was a very funny occasion. And Chris was here a long, long time. He also started the 18 months confirmation classes, and that's when I decided I was going to be confirmed at St Paul's. I should say I went to Sunday school, I went to Bible class, which you did when you were 11, pre-confirmation, and then eventually I ran the Sunday school for a long while and did lots of nativity plays. After Chris, as I say, he was here a very, very long time, and he did an awful lot of things really. But after him, there was a very charismatic Irish ex-school teacher, school headmaster escaping the Troubles in Ireland, and he came over, and he was absolutely stole the hearts of the Weeke estate because he was a real Irish guy with jokes, and used to say to people, "Oh, come on, let's have a chat about a christening, make it all terribly informal." And as a result, he started family services, which brought a lot of people from Weeke estate in. He wasn't going to ever be here long because he was a vicar. And then Alan Swain came with a slightly higher church tradition, very quiet, very conscientious, but introduced a few new things. And then Michael Harley, who became Archdeacon and who's kept in touch with our church. Again, a young family, but very conscientious, starting lots of new initiatives. And then Rodney Stone, who was not at all well while he was here and was here an awful long time, and was coping with 3 young children on his own, as well as running the parish. Very high church, very devotional really. And he was here a long time, followed by Terry Roberts, who kind of stabilised the high church thing, but made it a bit more open again, and made it his business to go to the pubs locally and talk to people, and brought a few people in that way. And after him was Mike Powis. Mike was the sort of person whose preaching was probably, if none of the others be upset, the best I've ever heard. He would actually stand by somebody. He used to call the Holy Spirit sunshine, and he actually said when we went, if there's one thing about us all, the older people, it's all about, get yourself some sunshine. You're okay, but get yourself some sunshine, But he would also do funerals for the old people on the estate, saying things like, you've lost your wife, Sid, but you dance together, and you'll dance together one day, I promise you. Things like that. It was a personal touch. And then Philip Cochrane came and really spearheaded us into busyness and into evangelical kind of outreach. Lots and lots of activity, kind of grew the church, I guess, and brought in a lot of young families and perhaps evangelical families from the other side. And Philip left, and now we've got Ed, who again is stabilising and just starting, but again very busy and really keen to grow. That's really, what's happened. And the dream always was that there would be a church to accommodate a growing young estate.